What's that sound do to you, Kyle? That tells me that the best hour of the week just passed. And the second best hour of the week is right now. And today, we've got a guy who's been in and out of Dawn Patrol for years now.
That's right.
And if we talk
more out than in, but
more out than in, comes around when we talk about Book of Judges, death and slaughter.
That's right.
And comes around at the end of a men's retreat like we just had, where God showed up.
That's it.
And today we have Harry Bruno, a man of many, many hats. Welcome, Harry.
Hey, well, thanks for having me here today.
I'm really glad you're here. It was great to see you at Dawn Patrol. Great to see you at the men's retreat.
Oh, had an awesome time. It was tremendous.
Always a joy to spend time with you and talk to you and just talk life with you.
Sure.
And I just know you as Harry.
That's it.
But a lot of people know you as a lot more. And so just in brief,
I used to be somebody.
You still are somebody. I love who you are. But what did you do professionally? How everybody know you?
Sure. I'm an attorney, and of course, that probably, they can't see this on the podcast, though, of course, but the slime trail always kind of follows me around when I come into a room.
First time in the history of the world we had an attorney on the podcast. It's an amazing
That's it. So I worked 30 years for the city of Hayward, and then just before I got ready to retire from the city, I got a job with the Alameda County Sheriff.
Wow.
Doing that thing. I've been there for another 14 years.
Wow.
So I'm still there.
You're still there.
Yeah, I can't get out of the trough.
I have a couple attorneys in my life that are just great human beings. See, I don't even think attorney. I think just Harry.
That's it.
Good man. But I've heard so much goodness that you've brought to the community and to other people and lives because of how you do your attorney work.
Wow.
And so thank you in front of my friends and the 7 people that listen to the podcast.
That's right. Yeah, both of them. Both of them.
Really, sincerely. Yeah. The line you walk of integrity and what you see and what you have to navigate, I can't even imagine as an attorney.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It really is something, too, when you get into those kind of situations. One of my main things when I used to be working for the police department and everything, and we would do internal affairs activities, the one thing I used to always say is, don't tell me the name if you don't have to of the person that we're investigating and stuff like that, because it's just a lot of sad situations and stuff like that. Yeah. But
people find themselves in today, chapter 9 of Proverbs. They chase folly.
It's folly.
Yeah, and it gets them in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved your point too. It really got me today when you were talking about folly. About your translation there at the end.
Yeah.
About the
Pausing.
idea that you just pause. You kind of glance at it, stop, take a little look first.
Yep.
Then you maybe move on.
Yep.
But I mean, it's that pausing, because of course you also followed it up with the next idea, which is after the pause, that's when you get into the folly.
That's when you get into the folly.
Yeah.
So what Harry's referencing is this morning at Dawn Patrol, we did chapter 9 because today's the 9th of May.
Yep.
And I'm looking around for a translation I'd like to give you. I'm in the translation called The Voice, and I'm going to do the Proverbs Summer Challenge, which is a chapter a day, keeps the dumb stuff of summer away.
That's it.
You're going to hear about it on the podcast in more detail, and we're doing it on our YouTube channel. Every day you're going to get a 3-minute video on the podcast. On the Proverbs. Today, at the end, it says, but those who pause to listen to Lady Father.
That was it.
Pause.
Yeah. Pause.
And she's good to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
She's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And she or he. But folly is interesting.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, you made a good point that at least talking for a group of guys kind of thing, that folly is characterized as a woman.
As a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that all the ladies listening. We have a lot of wives and girlfriends and daughters listening because they can't come to Dawn Patrol for obvious reasons.
And that's right, yeah.
And so we love you, ladies. And Lady Wisdom is also.
That's
okay, so let's be clear,
we get to 31, yeah.
That's it. And so we have the Lady Folly. And when we pause to listen to foolishness, we don't know that the next step is death. And then we become walking cadavers, walking dead.
Wow.
And it's crazy. We're still walking around sucking air, but we're dead, spiritually dead.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Why did that move you so much? Why did that resonate?
One of my things in my life is, and you were just mentioning it, I deal with a lot of people that have gone into folly. Mm-hmm. So we're working on that thing. But I sit to myself when I'm there that I've, with my eyes and ears, have, in a sense, participated in folly by just even kind of walking by and looking at it for a while. That's part of the reason that I say a lot of these kind of situations that I get in, I would rather not have to know the whole thing. I'll just give you a legal answer on this, not have to kind of get into all the thing. But as a man too myself, I pause and look
Yep.
at folly. In fact, I participate in folly too.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
different times in my life.
Sure, and then it's that next step. So no sin, and being Jesus was tempted.
Oh yeah,
When we take a step towards it, it becomes a lustful move. It becomes a move towards.
that's right.
And so no sin and temptation,
Yeah.
but it's that next step. We had a guy right now doing 3 life sentences. 3 life sentences. Because he paused with dear friends of his, brothers he grew up with,
Right.
cousins, and they ended up doing what you do when you pause and listen to Lady Folly and just
That's
doing
right.
a little thing together in a gang situation. And, it leads to,
Exactly.
and you can't say no to your buddies,
That's it.
and then somebody dies,
Yeah.
and then here he is.
It's-
And he's a dear friend of ours, big piece of our community.
Wow.
Yeah, and if I could get this equipment into Soul Dad, he's in Salinas Valley, third
Okay.
level.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Oh yeah. Oh, the third level.
Yeah,
Okay,
oh,
we
yeah.
know. Yeah. So you just said the third level. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and so I've gone to see him a couple times, and it's a couple things are clear when I'm there. One is, and it's an open visitation. He did 2 years solitary confinement through his trial,
Yeah.
so we were behind glass. And here we are in the cafeteria seeing this brother, and you realize 2 things. One is I'm the dumbest guy in the room. These guys are smart.
Oh yeah.
They're not dumb ducks that find themselves chasing folly.
Definitely.
Smart guys. And the second thing that's clear is God wrecks stuff, because this dude is leading Bible studies, and he's now in Bible college. Pastor Larry and a guy named Bob is giving him materials, meets with him. Bob goes down there every other week, and he's going to have a Bible degree, and he's like changing the world at Salinas Valley.
This is it.
Yeah,
That's kind of one of the topics, of course, to those that were at our retreat this past weekend and everything, about the whole idea that God wrecks things in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
but that down there, down the road, around the corner, He's got something great planned for us, and
Puts
we
it
have to
together.
see that. We have to exactly it. He puts it together for
I want
us.
to talk about 3 things. One is, it's been reported to me by various brothers that Harry is a hustler.
Oh.
That you hustled a group of men in dominoes that you apparently said you've never played before.
Well, yeah, not that style of dominoes. Yeah, but I'm one of those guys. I was down with my son Ben. We were shooting basketball, and somebody walked by and said, "Hey, we need another person for dominoes." And Ben kind of volunteers me,
Yeah.
and
But not that style. Seems like that's a legal term.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I kind of walking a fine line there. Yeah, I know dominoes, but I didn't know that particular.
That was really fun to watch. And next year we're going to expand that, because that was really good community.
Oh, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
We had a crowd around us, everything else.
We were making the
people taking-
podcast for our speaker, Hugh Halter, and I was watching the dominoes taking place. So
Oh,
I went
yeah.
out after. Great community, great laughter.
Oh, yeah.
And I have pictures of you. When you go online, you'll see the pictures of the dominoes, and you're right there playing with the guys you'd never be normally sitting with.
No way.
Yeah, and
No
so
way.
really fun.
In fact, there was a lot of fun coming in this morning to the
To
to our
see
group.
the-
Yeah, and the guys were there. You know, we grabbed each other up at the front door and everything.
Yeah.
Because we've shared dominoes together now.
Yeah. Such a shame that we take our summer break, but it always, we pause for 12 weeks, and we come back even stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
even stronger. We just miss each other and hanging out. And that's why we're doing these, to keep together podcasts.
I think this is really a great idea. In fact, I was talking to my son Ben. Like, how do I get onto this podcast again? You
No
know?
way, really?
Oh yeah.
And here you are.
I'm that generation. Yeah, here I am.
And you danced on, in Philadelphia, American Bandstand.
American Bandstand. Yeah, with Dick Clark.
And how old were you?
I was 14 to 16.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like I say, I always tell people I was the pimply faced kid. So that was me. If you ever go back on old YouTube.
So what year's season?
I was there actually 62 to 64.
62, 64.
Yeah.
And you were American Bandstand with Dick Clark.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was out of Philly.
It was out of Philly. Yeah. Later on they moved it to Los Angeles, the show, but it was in South Philadelphia. Was where the event was held and everything.
Unbelievable.
A real rotten area. I mean, you look at it on TV nowadays. But It was just a big room, and they had one of those little like stands, little metal stands. That looks like Evan and Jim.
Yeah. So
And that was it.
I watched it, and I started back in 2nd, 3rd grade in Oakland. I was born in 63, so 68, 69, 70. I'm watching American Bandstand and then Soul Train.
Oh yeah, then you got to go to Soul Train. That's
Train.
right.
You don't get away from that stuff.
No. Oh yeah.
And that was it. Once a week.
Yeah.
That was our introduction to pop culture. That was it.
That's right.
There was no pop culture magazines. Nothing.
Well, yeah, and the amazing thing to me always was on like Bandstand. is that you'd have these record companies that would push their singers and their songs. And of course, in those days, there was a thing called payola and all this other stuff was going on. But what they would do is they would take this new singer, they pick 3 people out of a crowd, they didn't even know who it was, and you do that rate a record thing. And there you are on Bandstand, and you'd be listing this record. And of course, other people all over the country are watching that. And you have these 3 kids, 13, 14 years old, and either they put their thumbs up or their thumbs down. No, I didn't really like it. It didn't have a good beat to it.
Oh, that's terrible.
And you're thinking, you basically have just totally wrecked that career.
With 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
That you never met.
That they never met. I mean, they weren't focus grouped or anything like that. It was just people there.
Were you ever selected for that?
Nope, never got selected.
Okay.
Though.
What did you have to do?
I tried.
Did you have to go nuts or?
Usually they always pick 2 girls, and that was it. And then usually one of the girls would pick one of their friends or something like that. It was kind of a cliquish thing.
That is a clicky deal.
Yeah, and I was always the guy in the back there, just kind of trying to get in. Never happened.
Second thing after the domino corruption, tell me, is this myth? Were you involved in bringing the Raiders out of LA up to Oakland?
Oh yeah.
Were you really?
One of the things that got me was I was a follower of the Raiders once I came out here to the Oakland area, and I was always a Raider fan.
Right.
And then when they left, I thought, oh gosh, the Raiders are gone, and it's I'm just gonna be one of those guys now that my home team basically plays all its games on the road.
Right.
So we start once a year. We go down to Los Angeles. Well, anyways, I was watching the news. They had a roast for Al Davis in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And on there, then he got up and he started talking. And he started saying a couple of things. And one of them, he says, in Oakland, we had 3 things. He said we had the greatest teams, we had the greatest area to be in, and we had the greatest fans. And I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute.
Right.
He likes us.
Right.
He really likes us. So then I got into the idea of home. And that kind of came through just an idea that they needed to come back home. They had left Oakland just kind of in the dead of night. They were involved in a lawsuit. Of course, always the lawyers involved. And then they just left. They packed up in the off season and moved down. I said, we never had a chance to say goodbye.
Right.
So what I did is I called, I found out that Freddie Bolitnikoff had just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I contacted him. He was a coach for the Calgary Stampeders.
Up in Canada.
So I'm a guy, I'm sitting here in Hayward, California, and I call on the phone to Calgary. I get just before the internet, and Al Gore hadn't invented the internet yet, and all that kind of stuff. So what we had going is that I call up there and I say to Freddie Bolitnikoff, I said, hey, I'm just noticing that you're getting a thing. I said, and he finally calls me back. I left a message there at the desk, and he said, Coach. So he calls me back, and I tell him that I represent fans of the Oakland Raiders in the Oakland area. He goes, okay, yeah. He's kind of just listening on the phone here. I'm just kind of talking. And I said, I see you're going to be getting your ring. I said, would you want to be getting your ring in front of the Oakland Coliseum, or would you rather be at that time they were in the LA Coliseum? And I said, or in the LA Coliseum. And he says, and he kind of gets in his voice, he kind of hear him pick off, and he says, let me just say this. I'm an Oakland Raider.
Oh, my.
And I said, thank you very much, Mr. Bolitnikoff. That's all I need to hear. So then I took that because I wanted to make that as a part of our game, that we'd have an exhibition game back in Oakland. And through that exhibition game, we gave him his ring on. I mean, he was always an Oakland Raider, so here's the fans. So you
can YouTube that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can.
Oh, yeah.
Now is he still alive, Freddie Bolitnikoff?
Yeah. He was the one, he had the real problem with his daughter. It was an abusive situation there.
I didn't remember that part.
She was about 20 years old or something when she died.
Oh, my.
But, yeah.
Wow. And he was the guy that would smoke, right?
Yes.
On the sidelines.
He'd smoke on the sidelines.
Yeah, receiver. Great receiver.
That's it.
Hall of Fame.
We had to remember with the Stickum. The Stickum, the
Freddie
whole thing.
Bolitnikoff.
Yeah, they used to, every time they'd throw him the ball, they had to take the ball back out of circulation and clean it off, and the umpires got real upset about that.
That was so great.
The referees.
And so Harry Bruno starts the campaign to bring the Oakland Raiders back.
Well, like I said, I used to be somebody.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing. And I was landscaping John Vella's house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and did that a couple times when that whole thing started. In Vella locker room and all that, he was pretty...
He was very supportive of us.
Yeah.
He came down and we spoke for Oakland City Council.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the main things that I was able to, I had to speak before the Oakland Coliseum board. So the board meets, and that's to try and get this game at the Coliseum.
Right.
And we're down in the bowels of the Coliseum, but we walk in, and on the walls are all these different pictures and everything of big photos that have been blown up, and they had a whole bunch of the Raiders there. So what I did was the whole Paul at Mars Hill deal.
Yep.
You know, where he used that one sign. He said, you know, the God that you don't, that unknown God. That's I'm here to talk about him today. Well, what I did is I took them on a little tour around the ring, and they had things like there's a couple of famous ones. One where Ben Davidson hit Lenny Dawson in Kansas City, hit him he was their quarterback, and hit him in the stomach, and he kind of like exploded. And they had a picture of that on the wall, and I started to go around the wall and just say, you know, that's a thing, and that happened in Oakland, and this other scene from the Oakland Raider history happened in Oakland. And I said, and we can have that all again back in Oakland. Just trying to use Paul's Mars Hill idea. Mars Hill.
Wow. And so so how did that now how do you feel now they're moving to Vegas? Does that do anything or?
No, I sent them a couple of letters. I'm still trying to work on that. One of my main things here was to have them so that they would leave well.
Yes.
And kind of thing. And
I think they are.
Yeah, I think they are too. And my one thing was to try and get them to. They have that tarp area up over. They call we call it Mount Davis, the Alps. Yeah. You know, they got a bunch of different names for it, and they basically have it all tarped over. And what I said is that tear that tarp off, because you've got a sold-out stadium now. First time in their history, this last season.
Right.
They've totally sold it out.
Right.
To season ticket holders. Have 20,000 people on a waiting list. I said, let them in.
Let them in.
I was in a meeting with Al Davis, and his whole thing is that ticket prices were getting way too high, and he wanted to cause a section there. At that time, was in the L.A. Coliseum. He called it the Pirate section.
Oh.
There was going to be like $7 a ticket.
Yeah.
So that people could bring their families there. You can bring the kids, and the kids don't know the difference.
No.
I was the same thing. I've got 3 sons, and one of those things is that I used to love taking the kids to games.
Yeah.
And even though we're sitting out in the bleachers or whatever at the
matter.
Oakland Coliseum,
You're there.
they don't know you're at a game.
Yeah, you're there.
You know, we're there hanging out.
I grew up in all those games. I lived about 20 blocks over from the Coliseums where I was raised.
Oh, well, you're right there then.
And my neighbor's dad was real high in the security, and so we were there all the time, through the parking lot, into the tunnel, and I didn't know. I'm watching Earl Campbell come to town with the Oilers. I'm watching who was the Vikings quarterback, Fran Tarkenton. I'm watching all these guys come through.
Oh, yeah.
Miami Dolphins, are you kidding? That season, undefeated, I saw him play. You know, it's like Steelers come to town. Are you kidding? Okay. And all those guys were in the
Miami Dolphins, undefeated season.
Yep.
Okay, right. Who was the team that they lost to just before they started their winning streak? And that same team was the one that ended their winning streak. Which team was that?
I'm going to guess because of who I'm sitting with, the Oakland Raiders.
You got it. See, that's it. There you go.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
So last week we talked surfing
with
Keone. This week we're talking Raider ball.
Oh, yeah.
So you're happy Chucky's back?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great season.
Oh, yeah. We're having fun, everything. But it's not the same, but hey, one of the main reasons, and it's, of course, I'm talking to a group of men here too, that and women that understand about the Raiders. My real vision wasn't just to bring the Raiders back. It was, and we got involved in that because they had several Christians on the team, was that the Raiders would come back, and we, through our community and all that, through the Christians on the team, would be able to minister in our community about it.
And they are.
And that's the
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, unbelievable individual.
Oh, yes.
And who else on that team is pretty, who can we pray for?
Oh, gosh.
Derek Carr had a partner last year. Did they trade him? And Jack was a big believer.
Jack, yes.
Is a big believer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
big movement in that.
Oh, yeah.
We had Bethany Hamilton's husband.
Oh, well, yeah.
And Derek Carr's brother right here.
Yeah, David. Yeah.
Yeah, right here. They came up because Bethany Hamilton did a thing for us about 5 years ago. And they came and hung out in the office because the green room was unavailable.
Yes.
And I'd heard the whole Derek Carr story and the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great man.
It's a great story, you know. And that was our thing. In fact, I've invited him several times. I don't know if he's ever made it to different the pageants that we have at our at the church here.
Hey,
anyway,
2 things really exciting that I can't get out of my head. And your son Ben, you brought to the men's retreat.
Yes.
And I didn't ever have my dad at the men's retreat.
Wow.
And never involved in anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
And, as you grow up, it kind of leaves a little wound, when Dad's just not available.
Oh, yeah.
And last year, on Saturday night, my dad passed away as we were doing dessert. Unbelievable. Yeah. And so this year, to start with a golf tournament and to watch a dad follow around his kid. So Ben, Bruno, we didn't know, and we got to meet him, and he signs up for the golf tournament.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Ben was. I didn't even know. I met your one son one time, I think, here.
Okay, yeah.
And I met your brother.
Yeah.
And so I go, oh, who's Ben? Hey, give you a big hug, pick you up off the ground, which is kind of wild because he's a big man. And I go, who's Ben? And I don't know. And then we find out he's a pro golfer at Sky West. He's a pro.
Oh, yeah.
And this dude can golf, but the whole thing was watching you for 9 holes running, walking. Like he was like brand new, like he's just got born out of the hospital, man. It's like, look at my kid. And it's like, it was so amazing. It just comforted my heart for 3 hours. I'm watching this and I'm going, Lord, thank you, because this is my dad's weekend. He died. And I never had this. And here I am, screw the golf and all that. But to watch that, I went, it just blessed my soul. It just started my weekend off with like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was a joy. Wow. What's
Wow.
it feel like to be able to follow your adult son around and just be a part of his life?
Well, it's the one thing that I've learned through the Lord and everything is that even though you love your kids when they're little infants and as they're growing up, each stage you love. And what I've found is that each stage is better than the last stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it sounds funny. The stage that you're in right now in life, it's great, but it just keeps getting better. Mm-hmm. And one of my main prayers always had been to myself was that I realized that the Lord had blessed me with my wife and 3 sons, and they're great people. And it's a kind of a strange prayer that I used to always pray for myself, though, is like, don't screw this up, Bruno.
Right.
I mean, you've been given just these unbelievable gifts.
Yep.
But don't screw it up.
Easy to screw up.
Easy. Always easy. It's kind of like we were talking today in
One moment.
Proverbs 9. I mean, just one thing. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people.
Good people.
And And I just said, don't mess this up. God has given me such a great blessing. And just like you're saying, though, you mentioned about my father, too. He traveled a lot and kind of things like that. And I was even sharing with Ben just today. One of the things that I still feel is he died about 20 years ago, and that he's missing out,
on the grandkids.
On the grandkids. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm saying that he's missing out, I want to make sure that I don't miss out.
Right.
So that's why we stay engaged. My wife and I, we go to, in Ben's case, a lot of sporting events and softball games, tennis.
Natural athlete.
Natural. It's a generation skipping thing too, everybody. So
I watched you play basketball.
Yeah, you saw it.
That's
it.
Yeah. And I watched Ben go easy on you.
He went easy on me. But Hey. It's just one of those kind of things, though, that I really appreciate you mentioning it too, because it's one of the things that I've tried in my life. Not that I'm perfect, and not that I've doing all that stuff.
But you're intentional, and you're trying, and you're setting up situations for intentionality to happen.
Right.
Which is weird. My son, he's 22, going to turn 23 next week.
Right.
And there's a natural breakaway that happens. They got to become men.
Yeah.
And that hurts when they start pushing your way. And you're the idiot in the house, and that whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's hard.
I've been that guy.
Yeah, for sure. All of us walking the earth have. Wasn't it cute when Clay was talking about his 2-year-old daughter, and he said she's perfect, and everybody, and we all kind of were holding our tongues, and he saw it.
Yeah.
And he went, "Come on, guys, let me just enjoy it for a minute. I know she's going to disappoint me."
Oh yeah.
That was a cute moment.
Oh yeah. No, it was. It's like all us guys that have been around the block. We know
it's hard.
It's coming.
But it's like you said, it gets better.
It does. It really does. Even if you might be going through a season where there's some problems there, and maybe a stranger, it's still God's working through it.
Didn't you find on Sunday morning Hughes 12 things that he saw of honorable men? The 12 things, weren't those like just so applicable? And
wow.
Is that gold? What if you heard that at 30 or 20?
I wish I had.
I know.
No, I'm really. Yeah. I wish I had.
I know.
It's we've gone to here at the neighborhood church for 3 Crosses now, but I've been there for since '71 at the Billy Graham Crusade.
Really?
Yeah, but the problem is that I became a Christian at the Billy Graham Crusade, and then immediately I went to law school, and that was a summer between graduating from school,
2 extremes,
college, and and there at law school I wanted to talk to people about this God that I had just met, and of course they don't want to talk about that. They're there to learn the law.
Right.
So
that must have been a transition.
Oh, it was.
You must like Paul because he's a lawyer. His writings must really, sincerely. They
very definitely.
Yeah.
And you can see it all throughout his writings.
Yeah.
That's just the way they come out.
Do you recognize that being for an old neighborhood guy?
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
The cross.
Off of Jake Beelig's pulpit.
Oh, yes.
This is the one.
That giant pulpit.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, wow.
I know. We took that to the gun range, the pulpit. Jim Beelig wanted it out of the church because we did, and it was just junking up stuff. And I said, wow, that's amazing. We shot the heck out of it. But I took this off first, and I just thought this was amazing.
Oh, wow.
I know. Piece of history.
That is tremendous.
3 Crosses history right here, man. It's like the Holy Grail is in the office here.
Yeah.
Hey, last question. What did you learn that you're going to apply? Because we're all about application. We're the wise men who builds our house on the rock. When the storms come, our houses, our lives don't fall apart because we apply what we hear. We try to apply. What did you hear this weekend, men's retreat?
Wow. That
you're going to just apply? 1, 2 quick things that you're going to say, you know what, this is really something that I'm doing.
I've already started on one of them right away. Is the whole idea of soft eyes.
Yeah.
And you just were mentioning about gun ranges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's just like a deal when you're in a shooting area and you're looking for the different animals that might be out there, and just with soft eyes, look at the forest, kind of stop, slow down, take a look at what's going on out there.
Look at the day in the restaurant. Look at the person.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, Lord?
Yeah.
And wait for Him to show you what He's doing.
It really is. I put that into effect already, I think, 2 or 3 times since the retreat. I mean, and that's just like 2 or 3 days.
Big.
It's
really
a big thing.
big.
And of course, then the corollary, I think, with that is that then once you see that, then you can see where God is moving you. Even though we don't know where we're at, we know where we're at right now, but we can see that up around the corner there,
He starts to give you some. He starts to show you a little further around the turn. When we stop, get down on a knee in the morning, and that posture changes our perspective, and just say, Lord, give us the vision.
Yeah.
Show us what you're doing. Harry?
And that was the other thing, too, not to cut you real quick.
No, you're good.
Get down on your knee.
Yeah.
It sounds funny. It was just like I mentioned earlier about the Billy Graham crusade. I was sitting up there in the Oakland Coliseum, 1971, and he said, everybody come on down. You know, if you feel it, they'll wait for you. Remember that whole deal? The buses will wait. The whole thing
I think
what's going to happen. But, and I'm sitting up there, and I'm an educated person. I just graduated from Cal, Berkeley, you know, I know it all. And I said, okay, I understand that he wants you to make some kind of a movement, but I can do it right here in my seat.
No.
And that's exactly it. I said to myself, you know, I'll go down anyway. They're probably giving something away. So I walked down onto the field, and that's just that movement. And that's the same thing. I'm just kind of focusing in on the get down on your knee. That's right.
And we're men of posture. You know, we stiff-necked is what people in the scriptures called it, you know, and posture is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so 71 in the Oakland Coliseum, and you got big moments in the Coliseum between the Raiders and Billy Graham.
That's exactly it. Yeah, in fact, that's the reason I even came to 3 Crosses, because I was coming every night, and the men's ministry here at 3 Crosses, and also the ushers were there being in the Coliseum. So I was there every night, and I kind of sat in the same area, and they finally said, hey, a young guy like you, you go to any church? I said, nah, I don't go. And they told me, I was in Oakland at the time. I lived in Oakland. And they said, well, down in Castro Valley. And I thought, well, Castro Valley, that's where all the chickens are and all that stuff.
Yeah, right, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my son accepted the Lord at a Billy Graham crusade, the last one he did with Salty, the singing songbox.
Oh.
And he was 2 years old, my son was. We caught Bart into the Coliseum, and we went down onto the thing, and with both arms up. When he said, raise your hand if you want to know. In both arms, my son was so excited.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy. And he still looks back at that. That was a big...
That's it.
Yeah. He got baptized in the Jordan River at 13. I bar mitzvahed him at the Western Wall. Poached a blessing from a rabbi. Were you there at that one, Kyle? Weeping Biker was there. He was there. Isn't he a great man?
Yes.
We're going to get him in here.
You got to.
Harry, I can't thank you enough for being who you are.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
How you live your life. I've watched you serve a lot of people around the community legally with the joy of the Spirit all through it.
Wow.
Just to hold people up. It's true. And everything I say is true. All my stories are true. How many true, Kyle?
They're all true.
How many of them are exaggerated?
All of them.
100% of them.
That's it.
But they're all true.
That's it.
And exaggerated in just for effect.
Sure.
Aroma.
I
It
got
didn't
you.
stink like a cow. It stunk like a, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet aroma. Yeah.
Harry, I hope you continue with us because I just love being around you. I learn from you.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that you follow us this summer on the Summer Challenge.
Amen. I will.
That ain't all.
Oh, yeah.
that you fall. He wants you to fall. But that's not all. I hope you sign up early and save yourself $60 because I know how you lawyers are. You like to save a little
you
something.
know it. That's it. I'm the guy with coupons in his pocket all the time, so I'm there.
You got coupons?
Oh, yeah, I got coupons.
Oh, you're mad. So funny. Sign up online until May 31st to save yourself $60, something like that, for next year.
Yeah.
God bless you guys listening home and gals. We love you, and we'll see you Sunday at church and next Wednesday at Dawn or Dust Patrol.
Yes.
Peace.
All right.